Hello there. So we've got 2 more episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi out now, so I feel like it's about time to talk about it again, to discuss it. I don't know that I have that much to say about it. I feel like I'll probably have more to say in the last 2 episodes, and I can sort of talk about it overall. There's a couple things I want to clear up from the last episode. I think I mentioned Leia's planet, and I don't know why I didn't piece it together. The name of the planet is obviously Alderaan. I think I was thinking in my mind, I'm like, is it Coruscant? I'm not sure that it's Coruscant. And I'm like, oh, it's Alderaan. And I thought of that after the fact, and I'm like, well, that makes so much sense. I don't know why I didn't think of that. But we got a couple new reveals, I guess, in this one. We have Darth Vader is back, played by or voiced by James Earl Jones again, who voiced him originally, which is really cool to see. So basically, our episode starts, and we're on this new planet. I forget what it's called. It starts with an F, something like that. But basically, Obi-Wan and Leia are on this planet because they're trying to, get help from that group of people that they met. And so they're trying to find this person that's supposed to help them. They get picked up by this guy that's driving around a thing, and he's clearly an Empire sympathizer, I guess is the word. There's a scene here where he picks up a bunch of stormtroopers, and they're like questioning him, and it was a little weird of a scene. I felt because basically they're in this location searching for a Jedi. They have the information that they need to kind of put this together, and they literally see Obi-Wan with Leia. And they start talking to him, and they're like, why are you out here? It's weird that anybody would be out here in the middle of nowhere. That's weird that we're looking for a Jedi out here, and you're just out here in the middle of nowhere by yourself. But it seems that he's able to convince them, I guess, that he's just a farmer that's went out of his way. And then they just leave. But it doesn't really matter because they get to the checkpoint, and then at the checkpoint, it's like, oh, well, obviously, the guy that was driving the vehicle intended to sell them out completely, but they're saved by the person they were apparently supposed to meet, who is a new character who is basically undercover as an Imperial captain, general. I'm not good at understanding ranks, and she ends up saving them and basically smuggling them into this village, where they are very quickly chased by Inquisitors, and also Darth Vader makes an appearance in this village for the first time in the show. I do want to kind of go back a little bit because Obi-Wan talks a little bit about his home life. Now, as we know, Jedi, the way the Jedi Order works is that they're usually taken away at a young age by the Jedi Order, and most of them don't remember their family, their parents. They'll have small memories, but because they're taken when they're so young, they don't really remember much of it. So they kind of find a new family, I suppose, within the Jedi Order, and their whole life is dedicated to the Jedi Order. But Obi-Wan in this scene mentions, I think for the first time, I don't know if we've ever received this information in any form before, but he talks about remembering his family a little bit, and he talks about the fact that he thinks he might have a brother, which is interesting. I don't know if they're trying to set something up here that might pay off later. I mean, they're introducing an entire new character to the canon, that apparently Obi-Wan has a brother, and this is something that they could do a lot with, I suppose, if they felt like it. There's some pretty cool fight scenes, especially, I really liked the blaster fight scene, basically, when Obi-Wan doesn't use his lightsaber, but starts fighting the stormtroopers with just a blaster and fist fighting. I do really like these scenes of Obi-Wan fighting just without a lightsaber, and just these cool action scenes. I'm really enjoying these. I actually like them a lot, although I think it might be the last one, because after this point, he kind of starts using his lightsaber a lot more. So later on, Darth Vader shows up, and he demonstrates something I like about Darth Vader when they usually bring him in stuff that's not, because the only time on screen we really see him is in the original trilogy, obviously, and he doesn't come across he comes across as evil, but maybe not as like powerful, I think, as he is. So I really appreciate it in the canon when they show off this. They did it, not for the first time, because if we consider Legends canon, but the first time I think we got to see something cool, like a really cool fight scene from Darth Vader, was Rogue One, which, was really cool. I was going to mention another thing, but I feel like that's a heavy spoiler, so I won't, I guess. But additionally, the comic books as well, you get to see a lot of Darth Vader just being as powerful as he is. He's one of the strongest Force users that exists, and he's just, he doesn't have any sense of fear, and I like how they show him to be kind of a monster. I mean, he's not a good person in any way. There's like very little of Anakin Skywalker that we see in him. He's just become a complete, just a killing machine. He just doesn't care. He goes and murders people, and takes advantage of people. He strangles people for the littlest things. He doesn't have anything really holding him back from just demonstrating the full force of his power as Darth Vader. And I like seeing that. I think that's one of the coolest things we can now do with modern Star Wars, is at least show Darth Vader doing cool things. But in Episode 3, we have a pretty iconic scene of Obi-Wan fighting Darth Vader for the first time since he fought Anakin on Mustafar. And it's a pretty badass scene. I mean, it's really well done. Obi-Wan says, like, you've become a monster. And Darth Vader's like, well, you're obviously have become extraordinarily weak. And it's just really cool. And I like it a lot. I really liked that scene. The end of it is a little bit contrived, I feel like, because Darth Vader basically wants Obi-Wan to experience the same pain that he felt on Mustafar when he was mostly burned alive. So he starts a fire, and he pulls Obi-Wan into the fire and starts burning him. But the Imperial friend that they've gained decides to help and shoots a stormtrooper that's going to pick him up, and then starts the fire again, which was already put out by Darth Vader. And then somehow they help Obi-Wan escape, even though he's down, he's out, he's really, really hurt. And I don't exactly know how they were able to escape Darth Vader there. I feel like I said, it's kind of a little bit contrived. Is it a big deal? I don't know, but it's like, how did they get away if, like, they just have this robot that picked up Darth Vader, and the only other person there to help is this Imperial spy? Like, how the hell did they get away from Darth Vader? How did he not stop them right there when it's like I kind of thought about it, and I'm like, I could argue that maybe Darth Vader is like okay with Obi-Wan escaping, because he's like, well, I'm gonna find him no matter what either way. It's like he's just that prideful. He's not gonna get away. Like, I don't really care about giving chase right now. Like, I'm not gonna go out of my way to get him when I know I'm gonna get him no matter what anyway. But the Imperial spy helps Leia by sending her in a certain direction where she's supposed to be picked up by somebody, but she gets intercepted by the third sister, who then takes her to this base that they have that's like half underwater, and that leads us about into Episode 4. I want to divert a little bit to just talk for a second about the Inquisitors, because I did want to look this up and see if, like, the Inquisitors that they're using in this are the same as any that I've seen before. I think maybe the guy with the hat, I think he might have shown up in the comics before. I'm not entirely sure about that. That's definitely something I could verify. But from Jedi Fallen Order, none of these, as far as I know, are in there. So I haven't seen them in there, even though they look kind of familiar. The third sister, I believe this is the first time we're seeing the third sister, which is the name of the sort of main villain of this plotline, other than, I guess, Vader. And so she's, like, trying to interrogate Leia and trying to get information out of her. and Leia is just giving up nothing. She's very brave. We see the third sister trying to, like, invade her mind, her thoughts, and apparently Leia is too powerful and very good at resisting this, which is interesting, and I'm not sure what exactly to make of that. If I should complain about it or not. I'm like, okay, well, like, obviously Luke is supposed to be pretty powerful, and obviously I think they want to set up that Leia was also extremely powerful because they're both, kids of Anakin, who was one of the most powerful people in the Jedi Order. So it's like, I kind of am open to accepting that she would be powerful in the Force, but she doesn't really ever use it until the sequel trilogy. For the first time ever, we see her actually doing something, and it was something that was, invented for the sequel trilogy. In the original trilogy, Leia really doesn't ever display that she's able to use any sort of Jedi tricks or anything like that. She seems normal. So it's kind of a new thing, but I don't know that I would complain about it because I don't really, like, I'm kind of fine with it, honestly. But she is a child, and I would think that she doesn't have any Jedi training. It's like, it's a little bit iffy to think that she would be very strong in her mind and be able to resist a dark Jedi's invasion into her mind. But, it's kind of a nitpick, I guess. So Obi-Wan's led to this camp of, I guess, rebels. It's this thing called the Path, I guess, where they help Jedi escape. It's sort of the beginning of a sort of rebellion, I guess. It's sort of the beginning structure of that happening, because the Rebel Alliance wouldn't exist in the same capacity that it did when, once Leia's an adult. She's kind of the leader of the Resistance. So it's kind of interesting, I guess, to see how the Rebel Alliance comes to fruition, who's started it, because as far as we know, Leia's the leader. She's the one that everybody kind of rallies around. So episode 4, I've already been talking about it a little bit, but Obi-Wan infiltrates this base. He gets information from the rebels, like I said, and then the Imperial Spy also helps him. She gets in, and there's a little bit of a weird scene of, like, a security guard who's basically, like, questioning her, like, you really shouldn't be here. You're kind of, like, way out of your sector. Like, this doesn't really make sense for you to be here. And then she just starts deriding him and being like, I'm your superior officer. You can't speak to me like this. I'm going to report you. I'm on confidential business. I can't tell you. And he just kind of backs off, even though he comes on really strong. So it doesn't really feel maybe necessarily earned that she really, like, scared him into backing off. That, like, if that were what he was thinking the whole time, that, like, oh, she's a superior officer, like, obviously I can't deride her. Obviously, if those were thoughts that were running through his head, he wouldn't have acted the way that he did. I don't know. It seemed a little convenient, and just I don't know. I'm really nitpicking at this point to, like, find anything negative, because I honestly, I'm not even trying to be negative, honestly. I'm just, like, pointing out things that I noticed, I guess. But, like, I'm actually really enjoying the show so far. I think it's really good. I had more issues, I think, with the first 2 episodes, just with some of the silly bits, like Leia running away from people that she shouldn't be able to run away from. The villain, I don't know, I kind of understand it a little bit more. Like, okay, she's, they're all sort of competing to become Grand Inquisitor, and they just look down on her overall. But I still think it's a little weird from episode 1 and 2, like, the things she was doing. Why were they against her doing these things? Like, they should have just been doing those things themselves instead of complaining about her doing them. Like, it honestly, is more convenient for the good guys, that they're like deriding her for doing these things, you know what I mean? But like, I guess in these episodes, I kind of am accepting it more. So most of this episode is just Obi-Wan and this Imperial spy. She helps him infiltrate this base. He goes in underwater. He uses one of those cool masks that they use in the prequel series to just breathe underwater, I guess. And he sneaks in, and he goes and he saves Leia at the last second. The Imperial spy does create a distraction at one point in order to allow Obi-Wan to get to Leia, which kind of doesn't really work all that well, but it does work because it gets the third sister away from Leia. But it does seem, and I wonder if they're going this direction, that the third sister is kind of hesitating a bit, like she doesn't really want to hurt Leia. Like this is a bit of a step farther than like she's super comfortable with, that maybe she's not fully taken over by the dark side. Maybe this will be an element. We don't really know much about her yet, just that like her family was killed or something. I don't know, that she had a really bad time and that's why she's evil. She does share a little bit of an anecdote about how she used to have a droid as a kid, and basically says like, they took that away from me, like they took everything away from me. And I'm wondering who exactly she's talking about and what was taken from her, aside from, like, obviously her family, I suppose, and the people she cared about, and that's why she turns over the dark side. But was it the Empire that did that? And she's now working for the Empire that did that to her? So maybe there's a chance that she's going to be redeemed in some way, because I guess she hasn't really done anything, like, specifically horrible. So maybe she'll turn over to the light side. It seems possible, because mostly I'm just reading into that moment of her hesitating and the fact that she didn't actually hurt Leia, and was hesitating to hurt Leia. But she does seem really gung-ho about becoming Grand Inquisitor, and we don't really know, I guess, what her motivation for doing so is, other than that it's perfectly natural for any one of the Inquisitors to want to become the Grand Inquisitor. That just makes sense. But yeah, there's just some cool fight scenes in episode 4, and they just kind of are able to escape, but, you know, they get stopped at the last second by the third sister, and then the rebels, you know, show up and start shooting all the stormtroopers, and then they're able to get them out of there, which is pretty cool. It's all cool, and it's revealed that the third sister, Darth Vader, shows up at the very end, and he's like, and he starts strangling the third sister. He's like, I don't accept failure. You have failed too much. I don't accept this anymore. And then she reveals that, oh, well, my plan the whole time was that I was going to, I got this droid, and I turned it into a tracker, and now her droid, Leia's droid, is now a tracker that's going to lead them to the rest of the rebels. So I guess her plan was, I don't know if this was like a secondary plan in case something went wrong, or what, if this was her plan the whole time, what the heck that was about. But she now has a tracker on Obi-Wan and Leia's and the Imperial spy's ship in order to lead them to the rebel outpost, as well as Obi-Wan and Leia. So she's risking losing Obi-Wan and Leia to find this rebel outpost, which is a bit iffy. It does feel very much like a B plan that was like, well, if things go wrong, but like, why would she anticipate something going wrong if she has Leia here and like in the middle of a you know, the Empire's strongest base? She expects that they're actually going to somehow infiltrate and steal Leia. Like, she anticipated that? Because that was pretty crazy for them to do. I don't know, but I'm excited for the last 2 episodes. I'm really liking this show. Like I said, I'm actually enjoying it quite a lot. I think it's pretty good. And I don't know if they're going to continue it. I don't know if it's going to be a mini series and it's just going to end. But I honestly would love to see, I think, more of Ewan McGregor in this role, just doing Obi-Wan stuff, because it's just been really cool. We do, I believe, see a cameo of Hayden Christensen at one point. In the distance, Obi-Wan sees him in like a cloak. I believe that's supposed to be him. I don't know who else it could be. but he's cloaked, so you don't get to see much. It's definitely not Qui-Gon because he doesn't have the beard. It's just a perfectly shaved face with a cloak, and it just looks like Anakin. So I think that's supposed to be him, and I think we're gonna have a Hayden Christensen cameo in the last 2 episodes, which is pretty cool. I honestly just love to see more of a return to these characters because it's just cool to see. So yeah, I mean, I've been enjoying this. So we got 2 more episodes left to do. I think it's only six episodes overall. So yeah, look forward to that. I'll talk about it as well. Let me know if you guys are watching this. Let me know if there's any shows or anything specifically that you would like me to talk about as well. I know Stranger Things came out. I just watched the new episode of Stranger Things, the new season of Stranger Things, the first half of the new season of Stranger Things, and it was phenomenally good. It was really good, and it got me excited for television again. I might do The Boys. The Boys is now airing season 3. Miss Marvel, I think I'm definitely going to do. I'm going to talk about Miss Marvel as soon as episode 2 comes out. I'm going to do it in the same structure. I'm kind of excited about that one. But other than that, let me know. I'm open to suggestions. I'm open to anything, really. Additionally, I want to mention this in every episode. I do stream on Twitch. I just recently finished my Bionicle game that I've been working on, and I have some plans that I think will be fun, some interesting things to do. So, follow me on Twitch. I also have a VODs channel. Please subscribe to my VODs channel, because I'm a little worried. I upload all of my VODs to my VODs channel, and I'm like, I don't think anyone's getting notified. Like, no one can get notified of these because they don't, they're not subscribed. Turn on notifications for that if you want to watch the VODs instead of watching the actual Twitch stream. Yeah, that's all I got to say about Obi-Wan so far. Let me know what you thought. Leave a comment, talk to me. Tell me what you think. I need feedback. So, yeah, that's it. Goodbye.